kitchen, folks. In today's film, I'm going to show you how to turn garden chives that are homegrown into powdered herbs that you can use in cooking. So here's one of my chive plants. I've got several dotted around the garden, and it's best to pick them before they start flowering. Let's get somewhere near the base, give them a snip, and the more you pick them, the longer it prolongs their life and the growing season. Better to try and get the leaves than the flower stalks if you can, but don't worry if you can't. I'm going to get a mixture. So I'm going to have a little bit of a sort through these. I'm going to trim them. I'm definitely taking the flower heads off, and if any of these flower stalks seem woody, I'm going to remove them. Like so, for example, on this one just here, the stalk itself here feels fine, but this bit here is going to be a bit woody, so I'm going to remove that and not use that, but the rest of this will just be fine. All I'm going to do is cut it in half so it's not quite so long, because it's got to fit inside my food dehydrator. I've got to repeat that for lots of these. So some of them you can just strip out the flower stalk and use the rest of it. Anyway, I've got a long way to go. I'll come back to you when I've been through them all. Okay, I'm about halfway through, so I'm going to start to load up the racks now for the dehydrator from what I've picked off. So it is literally a case of just putting them on top and trying to get them so they're not overhanging too much at the edges. Maybe just trimming them back a little bit, because it's going to be a bit higgledy-piggledy getting them in and it's going to be messy, but I'll try and do it as best I can. It doesn't matter that they're overlapping. Sometimes when you use a food dehydrator, you definitely don't overlap things, but because these have got so little water in them, it's not going to make much of a difference, to be quite honest. So what I want to try and do is get this as neatly as possible in the middle, and then I've got to get these slotted inside the dehydrator. Now I've got them in there, I can just move them around a little bit, push them back so they're not sticking over the edge. It doesn't matter if they're poking downwards like they are, that's fine. Right, I've got to carry on now with the other racks. So I'll come back to you when my dehydrator is full and ready to go. Okay, I think that's a pretty stuffed full dehydrator. I've only got 3 of the 5 shelves in, and I've gone for deeper rather than try and get the shelves in. It might not work as well, but let's just see what happens. So just to explain to you, my dehydrator is a TurboWave Bio, just a nice little microwave size dehydrator. Okay, I've got the food dehydrator set to the lowest temperature, which is 45 degrees Celsius. So that's just over 100 Fahrenheit. I'm going to put these on for an initial 8 hours. I suspect I'm going to need much longer, but I don't want to overdo them. So I'm just going to put it on for this amount of time, and we'll check them out in 8 hours time. See you then. Hey folks, it's the next day. So what happened? When I got back last night, I had a look at the chives and they were nowhere near crispy enough. So I put the dehydrator up to 60 and then I put them on for 10 hours. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to pull that out, and you can hear that, but that sounds fairly dry and crispy. So what I want to do now is get them all out of here and into the kitchen and go through them manually, sorting out the ones which are dry and crispy enough and the ones that aren't. Okay, so I'm just going to remove them drawer by drawer, and I'm putting them onto a flat baking sheet. Right, let's have a look in the kitchen. So here are the dried chives. This is the bowl where I'm going to put the ones that are dry enough into, and these are the ones which haven't yet been in the dehydrator, and that's where I'm going to put the ones that still feel a bit damp. So I'm just picking them up and manually just having a feel, and if they feel crispy and crackly, then they're good enough. And these are the ones from the top shelf, which naturally you would assume would be the drier ones, and they do feel good enough. So I'm putting them in there. These all feel great. Smells wonderful, it's giving me hunger pangs. Right, I'm just going to tip those in because they're all good. So the top shelf ones are great. Now on the middle shelf, and I can immediately feel that there is still some liquid. This doesn't feel crispy, this is bendy still, and you can't hear any crackling, can you? So that one is going with these. Same with that one. Same with that one. Same with that one. And these are the thicker pieces which were on the bottoms of the ones that were doing flower stalk, becoming flower stalks, I should say. They're okay. Yeah, that's okay. So they all seem good to me. And now I'm on the bottom shelf. So again, crispy, crispy. That one's not crispy. That one goes on that pile. That's crispy. Crispy. What you don't want to do is have wet ones in your mixture because they'll clump and they might start to turn or go mouldy. So these are the ones that are going to go into the dehydrator. I'm going to move these out of the way. So these have not been in the dehydrator at all, and some that have been partially dehydrated. And of course, yes, this is my rolling pin. This is my bowl, and now imagine this being a giant sized pestle and mortar. And all I'm going to do is go in there and try and break these up a little bit. This is going to take me a little while, so I'll come back to you when they're broken down a bit. Okay, so these are pretty much broken down as much as I'm going to get them with the rolling pin. So now it's time to break them down even further by stuffing them into here. So I'm simply going to get them all into this glass container, push them in, and that's all my bits of chive in there. And then I simply get the bottom and put the bottom on, like so. Then this attaches to the base here, like so, and now the noisy bit. And I'm just going to keep going like that. And if you don't want them to be too small, I'm going for powder, but if you don't want them to be that small, you don't have to be. But I like to use them like in a powdery way, so it's like pepper. So I can sprinkle it on top of, say, poached eggs to give them a nice chivey flavour. Okay, I've got them off, and I'm just looking at that in there, and they're not as powdery as the ones that I've already got, but they look good anyway. They look fine, like that. They smell absolutely wonderful. I actually feel like putting a bowl of tomato soup in the microwave just so I can sprinkle these on top and have it. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, that's my spice rack, and whenever I get an empty spice jar, I save it for times like this, and I've got some chives in this one already, and I'm now going to add some more. These are slightly rougher than the ones that are in there, which are much more powdery, but it'll be a nice mixture, to be quite honest, anyway. I just use a funnel and get them in. Tapping it compresses them down, it gets the air out from between the particles. There we go. Get a few more in. I'll carry on until I'm satisfied that the jar is full. And there we go, one full jar of dried garden chives ready to be used in cooking. Look at that, that looks quite nice, doesn't it? I've got the rest of the chives that have not been dehydrated alongside some that have been partially dehydrated to go in. I'm going to do it very slightly differently with these ones. So these are the rest of my chives. I'm just going to put them on this chopping board. And what I'm actually going to do differently with these is to cut them down a little bit first with this rocking knife, just so they're not in as long pieces. It might just make the dehydration process a little bit easier. Some of the films that I've seen online, people do chop them up before they dehydrate them. You can or you can't, it's quite up to you really. It works both ways, but this way might work more efficiently. Okay, so these are broken down into smaller pieces than what they were before. I'm going to get them on the racks, get them in the dehydrator, and then I'll come back to you. So this time I've got fewer chives, so I've just got 2 shelves in there today. And because I've chopped them down a little bit as well, I don't need as much headroom between them. So I've just got the 2 shelves in. So I'm going to shut that up. It's on 60, and I'm going to leave it on 60, and I'm going to put this on for 10 hours at 60. And we'll have a look at them in the morning. So I'll catch you tomorrow for the end of the film. All right, see you then. Well, it's the next morning. I'm sorry about the background noise if you can hear it. I've got the washing machine on and the air fryer. But just pulling this out, These feel nice and crispy for the most part. I think I need to get them out into the kitchen and better look at them. So just going through these, that one not quite crispy enough, but that's an exception to the rule, I think, because just about all of them, including the other stalky ones, are crumbling. So definitely cutting them down a little bit has helped. So 10 hours at 60 with them cut down seems to be the optimum way. So I'm going to put these in the blender like I did the ones yesterday, smash them down to powder, then I'll come back to you. And here we go, a nice little chivy dressing on my poached eggs on toast. A lovely breakfast. So the verdict, let's have a go. Oh. I mean, poached eggs are the best eggs in the world anyway, but with that chiviness on them, that is absolutely spot on. Honestly, grow your own herbs, dehydrate them, powder them, use them in your cooking, you won't go wrong. Hope you've enjoyed the film, catch you on the next one. The film that you've just watched is a Moss Home and Garden production. You can find more by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. I'd just like to say thank you very much for supporting my YouTube channel and for watching my films. It really is very much appreciated. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel in order to receive future updates about the home and garden films which I upload. You can find my YouTube channel by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. Please click on the red subscribe button. When you've done that, a little bell will appear. If you press that also, then you'll get future updates about the films which I upload. If you like my films, if you like my style of filming, then you might also like my travel channel, which you will find by going to youtube.com/Stuart Moss or type in www.mosstravel.tv. Again, if you could subscribe to that channel, it would be hugely appreciated. If you'd like to get Moss Home and Garden updates on Facebook, then please open Facebook and do a search for Moss Home and Garden, and you will find the page. If you like the page, then you will get future updates on there. And if you'd like to connect on Instagram for home, garden and travel photography, as well as some stories, then my username is StuMoss, STUMOSS. If you'd like to connect on Twitter, then my username is @StuartMoss. And if you'd like to contact me about film usage or any other issue, please just email me on stewmosshomegarden@gmail.com. Once again, thank you very much for supporting my channel, for watching my films. I do appreciate it. I'd just like you all to have a great day.